Welcome to our channel. Today's story is about Two World. What would you do if you woke up one day and couldn't remember anything about your life? That's exactly what happened to the woman in this story. She woke up in her husband's arms with no recollection of who he was or who she was. All she knew was that he claimed to be her husband and they had two little girls together. Let's begin. The Two World. The spirit and the living. I don't remember what happened. I only remember waking up in my husband's arms. He smiled at me and kissed me on the forehead. I asked my husband who he was and he just smiled and said, "It's me. I am your husband." You do not remember? I'm sorry, I don't remember marrying him. But his soft, reassuring, caring voice somehow made me believe he was really my husband. I looked at the side of the bed and saw two beautiful girls. My husband said, "They are our two little daughters. Do you still remember their names?" I told my husband I can't remember their names. I don't even remember his name. My husband told me his name is Jim. Our eldest daughter is Sarah and second daughter is Jenny. I touched my daughter's face. They look like me and my husband. My husband lifted me up to sit on the edge of the bed. They were giving me rice porridge. As I ate, I cried and pulled my daughter's head towards me to sniff and kiss. I asked them what was wrong with me as I don't remember anything. I'm like a newborn baby. I don't remember anyone or anyone. My husband, Jim, told me that maybe in a few days I'll start remembering again. He starts telling me we've been married for 7 years. We have two daughters, Sarah and Jenny. We live in a small town with other people. Our parents were all killed in the war. My husband asked me if I know I'm the most beautiful woman in the world. There are so many men who would bring their cattle, gold and silver to our house to ask for my hand. Even though I'm already married to my husband, other men still love me. After listening to my husband for a few days, I began to recall my past with my husband and our two young daughters. After living with my husband for a while, I noticed some men bringing their cattle and lots of money to our house to trade with my husband. All they want is me. But all those times, my husband never wanted to trade me for anything. He loves me so much. Jim and I are poor. If he gives me away, he'll get rich with lots of money and livestock, but he loves me so much that he never wants to trade me for anything. I told my husband one day that I'm starting to remember things after listening to him. But I still don't remember what happened to me. Why didn't I remember what happened to me? Jim told me we were farming and it was hot. I didn't drink much water, so I passed out. I fell and hit my head hard on a tree trunk. That's how I passed out, and I don't remember anything. Right after Jim told me, someone knocked on our door. He went to open the door and there were 3 men. They brought a lot of money, a chicken and a cow. They wanted my husband to trade me for his money and animals. But my husband told them that I would not give up on them. After that, my husband closed the door and the men left our village. A few days later, Jim told me to stay home. He and our 2 daughters will go to another city to invite a shaman to do a ritual for me and change my name. I asked why. Why change my name too? Jim said, "You passed out and didn't respond for a few days. You have to change your name just in case." Before my husband and daughters left, he told me to stay home. He doesn't want me to farm or do housework. He doesn't want you to lose consciousness again. Jim packed me some food for the day before leaving the city with our 2 daughters. At around 2 p.m., Jim and my daughters returned to our village with a shaman. The shaman performed a ritual until after dark. I changed my name from Caroline to Jennifer. My husband loves me and my 2 daughters very much. Most of the time he farmed alone, leaving me at home with our 2 daughters. He farmed all day while I stayed home and took care of our 2 daughters. But when I came home, he was the one who gave me a massage and sometimes sang to me. Sometimes it's fun. Sometimes he went to the farm. After a while, I thought I'd stay away. But he only came back to tell me he's gone in between and he misses me already. That's why he came back to see me and he kisses me before returning. Even though we are poor, he is a perfect husband. I wouldn't trade it for anything. Living with him every day is like falling in love again. Some days, she would ask Sarah and Jenny to come with him to the farm to help him. He would leave our 2 daughters at the farm and come home to me. I kept telling him not to because Sarah and Jenny are still very young. He kept telling me the farm isn't too far away. One day, just at sunset, my husband and daughters were at the farm. 3 men came to our city and started knocking on our door. I opened the door and it was an older man and 2 younger ones. They carried purses of gold and silver along with 2 pigs. The old man asked me if I'm Caroline. I told him my name is Jennifer, but in the past I am Caroline. Then the old man said, "Oh, that's why we couldn't find you. Why did you change your name?" I told them if they are bringing animals, gold and silver to ask for my hand, then I will not accept. My husband will never trade me for his animals, gold and silver. The old man said, "No, daughter. We are not here to do that. We are here to bring you and your husband gold, silver and cattle because we are your relatives. I'm your uncle. It's hard to see you and your husband so poor. We're just here to help you." The old man asked if they could enter. I told him my husband and daughters are not at home. But it's getting dark already, so they should be home soon. I let the 3 men into our house. They tied their 2 pigs outside. I gave them chairs so they can sit down after a long journey in our city. The old man told me he's my older uncle. He wanted to take me back to his village. The city of him is the city where I come from. The old man told me that my family is worried about me and that I have to go back. I told them they should go first. When Jim comes back, I'll ask Jim to come with me. The old man said I have to go with them. They can't wait for my husband to come back. He told me my parents are very worried. I refused to go with them. Still, the old man looks familiar. I feel like I know him somewhere, but I don't even know who he is. I don't know why he told me he was my uncle. I also don't know the 2 young men who came with him. I've never seen those 2 young men before. I don't believe it, and I think they just want to marry me like other men, so the old man told me it's okay if I don't want to go with them. The old man took a large taro leaf out of his bag. He made 2 holes in the taro leaf. He said it's fine if I don't want to go with them. But he said when my husband and daughters came back, I only watched my husband and 2 daughters toss the 2 holes of the taro leaves. He said that after I do that, even if I don't want to go with them, they won't force me to go. Once the sun has set, I look through the holes in our house and see my husband with Sarah and Jenny walking towards our house. The old man told me to cover my face with the taro leaf and look through the holes. I covered my face with the blade and looked through the 2 holes. My husband was a walking corpse with a twisted neck. My 2 daughters were small little long-haired troll with bandy arms and legs. I see them walking towards our house. I took the paper out and looked at them again, and they appear to be normal looking. I put the sheet back and look again, and all 3 are scary. I looked around our city with the sheet on, and there were no people. All the houses were old and broken. When I take off the sheet, I see beautiful houses and people in the village. I turned to the old man with tears in my eyes. The old man said, "My daughter, you are not dead yet. You have a family at home. You have a husband at home who is still waiting for you. Come with me and I will take you back. You can no longer stay here. You're not dead yet." The old man held out his hand. I was about to take his hand, but I stopped. I took a few steps back and shook my head. At that moment, I remember everything. This old man is really my uncle. He is a strong shaman, but he lives far away. I remember my life of the living. He said, "Caroline, after what you've seen, do you still refuse to come with us?" I told him I don't want to go back. My uncle came and just took my hand. The two young men went and hid by the door. I saw my uncle draw his shaman's sword. When Jim and my two daughters reached the gate, the two young men grabbed my husband and my uncle pointed his sword at him. My uncle told Jim, "We are here to get our daughter back. We will give you these gold and silver coins with the two pigs outside, but you must not follow us." My uncle took me out and it was already dark. Then suddenly it got very windy. I saw a white horse with wings that came from the sky and landed next to us. My uncle got me on the horse and then got on and sat down behind me. The two men released my husband and they both turned into two white lights flying forward. The horse follows the two white lights. I looked back and saw tears running down my husband's eyes. As we flew, I saw long shadowy black arms reaching out towards us. My uncle told me to close my eyes so as not to be afraid. He said, "Don't open your eyes until he tells me." I closed my eyes and listened to our surroundings. I hear a girl crying as if she is very sad. My uncle kept reminding me not to open my eyes. I feel the wind on my face. I hear a man crying and it seems he is still waiting for his wife. I can hear that man saying something like, "How long do I have to wait here, wife?" He must be a spirit who is still waiting for his wife. I hear that man crying and saying things as our horse passes him. Then I heard a newborn baby cry. I can't hold back the tears. It made me miss my two daughters, Sarah and Jenny. I can't help myself, so I open my eyes and see a baby floating in the air and crying. My uncle covered my eyes with his hands. He told me to keep my eyes closed because if I don't, we might not go home. He wanted me to keep my eyes closed until he said I could open them. After flying for a while, all the crying and mourning has started to fade away until I can't hear it anymore. That's when my uncle said I could open my eyes. When I opened my eyes, I saw my mother, grandmother, and husband next to my bed. That's the end of our story for today. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and don't forget to hit that subscribe button for more interesting stories. We'll see you in the next one.